The rain had not stopped since morning. Cold drops rolled down the black umbrella in Daniel's trembling hands as he stood beside his mother's grave. People surrounded him. Relatives. Neighbors. Fake friends. All of them wearing sad faces. But Daniel could feel something strange. Nobody was truly grieving. Not really. His mother had died only 3 days earlier. Official reason? Heart attack. That was what the doctors said. That was what his uncle Victor kept repeating. Your mother was already weak, Daniel. You must accept it. Accept it. Those words kept echoing in his head. Daniel lowered his eyes toward the grave. His mother, Olivia, had raised him alone after his father disappeared years ago. She worked 2 jobs. She skipped meals so Daniel could eat. She stayed awake all night whenever he was sick. And now she was gone. Gone so suddenly that nothing felt real anymore. As the funeral ended, people slowly walked away. Victor stepped closer and placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. We're family, he said softly. You won't be alone. Daniel forced a weak nod. But something inside him felt cold. Victor had never cared about them before. Yet now he was acting like the perfect uncle. It felt wrong. Very wrong. A few minutes later, while Daniel stood alone near the cemetery gate, an old man in a gray coat approached him quietly. I knew your mother, the man whispered. Daniel frowned. Before he could answer, the man slipped a small black flash drive into his hand. She wanted you to have this, if something ever happened to her. Daniel looked up in shock. But the old man had already disappeared into the rain. That night, Daniel sat alone in his tiny apartment. The silence felt heavy. His mother's coffee mug still sat beside the sink. Her sweater still hung near the door. Every corner of the apartment reminded him she was gone. His hands shook as he plugged the flash drive into his laptop. A single video file appeared. No title. Just a date. Daniel clicked play. The screen flickered. Then his mother appeared. She looked terrified. Her eyes were red from crying. Daniel, she whispered. His heart nearly stopped. If you are watching this, it means they did it. Daniel froze. They poisoned me. He stared at the screen in disbelief. No, he whispered. His mother continued. I didn't know who to trust anymore. But if something happens to me, you must know the truth. She took a shaky breath. Your Uncle Victor is not the man he pretends to be. Daniel's blood turned cold. He has debts. Huge debts. He wanted the house. He wanted the insurance money. And when I refused to sign the papers. Her voice broke. He threatened me. Daniel's chest tightened. Tears filled his eyes. I tried to protect you, Olivia whispered. Please be careful. Trust nobody. The video ended. Daniel sat frozen in silence. His own uncle. The man comforting him at the funeral. The man pretending to care. Had murdered his mother. At first Daniel wanted to call the police. But then he remembered something. Victor's brother-in-law worked at the police station. And Victor always seemed protected. If Daniel accused him without proof, nobody would believe him. Especially not after the fake medical reports. So instead of acting immediately, Daniel decided something else. He would destroy Victor slowly. Piece by piece. Just like Victor destroyed his mother. The next morning, Daniel visited Victor's office. Victor smiled warmly. There you are, he said. I was worried about you. Daniel forced himself to smile back. I'm trying to stay strong. Victor nodded. That's what your mother would have wanted. Daniel almost punched him right there. But he controlled himself. Instead, he quietly started watching, listening, learning. Over the next few weeks, Daniel discovered things that shocked him. Victor owed money to dangerous people. He had secretly forged business contracts. And worst of all, he had manipulated the hospital reports connected to Olivia's death. But Daniel still needed real evidence. Then one night, everything changed. Victor got drunk during a private dinner with his friends. Daniel had secretly placed a recording device inside Victor's car earlier that day. And what he heard made his stomach turn. Victor laughed. "That stupid woman should have signed the papers," Victor said. One of his friends chuckled nervously. "You really poisoned her?" Victor scoffed. "It wasn't hard. A little every day in her medicine." Daniel stopped breathing. His hands tightened into fists. Victor continued laughing. "And now the insurance money belongs to me." Daniel replayed the recording over and over. This was it. This was the confession. But he didn't want Victor arrested quietly. No. That would be too easy. Victor had destroyed Olivia's reputation. He had cried fake tears at her funeral. He deserved public humiliation. Daniel spent the next 2 weeks preparing carefully. Victor's birthday party was approaching. A huge celebration. Business partners. Family. Friends. Everyone important would be there. Perfect. The night finally arrived. The mansion glowed with lights. Music echoed through the expensive halls. People laughed while waiters carried drinks across the room. Victor stood proudly in the center like a king. When Daniel entered, Victor smiled. "I'm glad you came." Daniel smiled back. "Wouldn't miss it." Victor had no idea what was coming. Hours passed. Then Victor climbed onto the stage holding a glass of wine. "I want to thank everyone for supporting me during these difficult times," he announced dramatically. Daniel nearly laughed. Victor continued pretending to be the grieving brother. The caring uncle. The honorable man. Then Daniel slowly walked toward the projector controls. Nobody noticed. Victor raised his glass. "To family." Daniel pressed play. The giant screen behind Victor suddenly turned black. Victor frowned. Then Olivia appeared. Gasps filled the room. Victor's face lost all color. "Daniel," Olivia's recorded voice echoed through the hall. "If you are watching this, they poisoned me." The entire room fell silent. Victor looked frozen. Then the second recording started. Victor's drunken confession blasted through the speakers. "That stupid woman should have signed the papers." Guests stared in horror. "You really poisoned her?" Victor's voice answered clearly. "It wasn't hard." The room exploded into chaos. People backed away from Victor. Some pulled out their phones. Others whispered in shock. Victor panicked. "This is fake," he shouted. But Daniel stepped forward calmly. "I also sent copies to the police, and every news station in the city." Victor's face turned pale. "You little..." Before he could finish, police officers entered the mansion. Someone had already called them. Victor looked around desperately. But nobody defended him anymore. Not a single person. His business partners stepped away. Even his closest friends avoided eye contact. For the first time in his life, Victor looked weak. Truly weak. An officer approached him. "Victor Hayes, you are under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, and the murder of Olivia Hayes." Victor turned toward Daniel with pure hatred. "You think you won?" he hissed. Daniel stared at him coldly. "No," he replied quietly. Then he looked toward the screen where his mother's face still remained frozen. "She did." Police dragged Victor away while cameras flashed everywhere. The mighty businessman. The respected family man. Destroyed in front of everyone. But the story didn't end there. Over the next few months, more secrets came out. Victor's companies collapsed. His bank accounts were frozen. Several corrupt officials connected to him were arrested too. And Daniel? He finally learned the truth about his mother. She had spent her final days terrified. Yet even while dying, she had been trying to protect him. One evening, Daniel visited her grave again. But this time, the rain was gone. The sky was calm. He placed fresh flowers beside the stone. Then he sat quietly. "I did it, Mom," he whispered. A soft wind moved through the cemetery. For the first time since her death, Daniel felt peace. Not happiness. Not joy. But peace. Because the monster who destroyed his family could never hurt anyone again. Daniel looked at the sunset slowly disappearing across the horizon. Then he smiled faintly. "A lie can survive for a while," he said softly. "But the truth always waits for its moment." And somewhere deep inside him, he knew his mother could finally rest.